Welcome. We bring you Japan's latest news every day. AI sums up what matters, so you can stay informed in English in just a few minutes. If you find it helpful, please like and subscribe. 7 buildings including residences gutted in fire in Nakano Ward, Tokyo, no injuries reported. A residential fire broke out in Nakano Ward's Honsho area in Tokyo around 2:30 p.m. on the 4th. According to the Metropolitan Police Department and Tokyo Fire Department, the blaze started in a 2-story residence and spread to surrounding buildings, destroying a total of 7 structures covering approximately 260 square meters. Fire trucks rushed to the scene and firefighting operations are underway. So far, no injuries have been reported. The Metropolitan Police Department and Tokyo Fire Department are continuing their investigation into the cause of the fire and the full extent of the damage. 6 years after Kumamoto heavy rains, building an environment where residents can live with confidence remains a challenge. It has been 6 years since the heavy rains that struck Kumamoto in 2016. The disaster claimed 67 lives, including disaster-related deaths, and 2 people remain missing. While reconstruction efforts in the affected areas are progressing, new challenges are emerging. Depopulation is accelerating in the disaster-stricken regions, with continued outflow particularly among younger generations. As a result, creating an environment where remaining residents can continue living with peace of mind has become increasingly important. Beyond establishing essential infrastructure for daily life, including medical care, welfare, and education, maintaining community bonds is also a major concern. While Kumamoto Prefecture is pushing forward with measures such as attracting businesses to the affected areas and creating employment opportunities, no decisive solution to halt population decline has yet been found. 6 years into reconstruction, the disaster-affected regions face a transition to a new phase. Video. Pickup News, July 4th. We bring you today's news for July 4th. Heavy rainfall continues across the country due to the influence of the Tsuyu front, and authorities are calling for heightened caution. Attention is needed regarding mudslides and swelling rivers. Meanwhile, as the upper house election voting day approaches, political parties are engaged in their final campaign push. Additionally, COVID-19 infections are showing an upward trend once again, and medical institutions are strengthening their response efforts. On the economic front, rising crude oil prices have led to increased gasoline prices, raising concerns about the growing burden on consumers. For detailed information on these major stories, please watch our video report. Composer Tsuma's Matsuri for Orchestra selected for the Otaka Prize. Composer Tsuma's orchestral work, Matsuri, has been selected to receive this year's Otaka Prize, which is awarded to outstanding orchestral compositions created in Japan. The Otaka Prize is presented annually by the NHK Symphony Orchestra to honor the legacy of Otaka Hisatada, a former principal conductor and composer. Tsuma's winning work, Matsuri, is based on scenes from traditional Japanese festivals and was praised for its ambitious composition that seamlessly blends complex sonic expressions with elements of ethnic music. Tsuma is a promising composer who graduated from the composition department at Tokyo University of the Arts and has won awards at international competitions. The winning composition is scheduled to be performed by the NHK Symphony Orchestra in the future. Japan's National Film Archive faces existential crisis. Here's why. The National Film Archive, which preserves Japan's invaluable film materials, is facing a critical threat to its continued operation. The facility houses numerous irreplaceable resources, including pre-war video records and historically significant film works that cannot be restored once lost. Due to insufficient funding and mounting difficulties in sustaining operations, the archive has launched a crowdfunding campaign to seek public support. Film is an extremely important cultural heritage, and these archival materials are essential for film research, education, and cultural preservation. The closure of the archive could result in the loss of Japan's film culture itself. It is now imperative that the public provide support to ensure the continued preservation and utilization of these historically significant video materials. Haruki Murakami releases first new full-length novel in 3 years, fans flock to bookstores. A highly acclaimed author worldwide, Haruki Murakami, released his first full-length novel in 3 years today. At a midnight sales event held at a bookstore in Tokyo, numerous devoted fans gathered, showing how eagerly they had been awaiting the release of the new work. Murakami enjoys high popularity both domestically and internationally, with his works translated and published in countries around the world. The new release appears to have been welcome news for fans who have been waiting for years. Bookstores were crowded with buyers shortly after sales began, once again confirming the high level of interest in the new work. Prime Minister Takaichi receives Jewelry Best Dresser Award, pledges to promote excellence of Japanese products. Prime Minister Takaichi has been awarded this year's Jewelry Best Dresser Award, which honors public figures with exceptional fashion sense. Upon receiving the award, Prime Minister Takaichi expressed her joy while emphasizing the value of Japanese products. In her acceptance comments, the Prime Minister stated her desire to showcase to the world the excellence of Japanese products, including the advanced technology and craftsmanship embedded in jewelry. The government is committed to enhancing Japan's industrial competitiveness by raising international awareness of the appeal of these outstanding domestically produced goods. Ruling coalition considers extending diet session in light of Prime Minister Takaichi's position. The Diet is currently seeing active efforts to pass many important bills. In addition to the Imperial House System Reform Bill, the ruling coalition has positioned the reduction of the number of House of Representatives seats as a key agenda item. Some within the party have expressed the view that extending the Diet session may be unavoidable in order to pass these bills. Ruling party leaders plan to consider their approach while taking Prime Minister Takaichi's intentions into account. Meanwhile, the opposition continues to demand government accountability, repeatedly calling for concentrated deliberations in the Budget Committee. Going forward, careful attention will need to be paid to how discussions between the ruling and opposition parties develop. Prime Minister Takaichi returns home from India visit. Prime Minister Takaichi has returned to Japan after visiting New Delhi, the capital of India. She arrived at Haneda Airport late on the evening of the 3rd, Japan time. The Prime Minister undertook the 3-day visit from the 1st through the 3rd. During the visit, discussions were reportedly held with Indian government leaders regarding strengthening economic cooperation and security collaboration between the two nations. The development of ties with India holds an important place in Japan's diplomatic strategy, and the visit is seen as laying the groundwork for future advancement of relations between the two countries. Kansai business delegation adjusts plans for China visit in October amid deteriorating Japan-China relations. Attention is focused on the movements of the Kansai business community as Japan-China relations worsen. A delegation of business leaders from the Kansai region is proceeding with arrangements to visit China in October this year. The delegation is planning talks with senior Chinese government officials and aims to maintain economic exchange. However, whether concrete results can be achieved remains unclear given the current tense political situation. Kansai has long maintained deep economic ties with China, making it an important market for regional companies. All eyes are on whether the delegation's visit will serve as a breakthrough toward improving Japan-China relations. Long-term interest rates rise to 2.81%, hitting nearly 29-year high on inflation acceleration concerns. In the bond market on the 3rd, long-term interest rates rose, temporarily reaching 2.81%, a level not seen in approximately 29 years. The increase was driven by growing expectations that inflation will accelerate, as well as strengthening selling pressure on government bonds amid mounting concerns about the government's fiscal burden. The rise in long-term interest rates could potentially impact housing loan rates and corporate borrowing costs. Market participants are increasingly focused on monitoring future monetary policy developments and economic indicators, with continued attention on interest rate fluctuations. Yen exchange rate. Market intervention concerns persist on day 3, jittery trading continues. Tokyo's foreign exchange market on the 3rd saw continued nervous price movements stemming from heightened caution regarding potential government and Bank of Japan market interventions in response to the sharp yen appreciation seen the previous evening. The yen rate fluctuated in small increments around the 161 yen per dollar level, with market participants proceeding with cautious trading while closely monitoring authorities' moves. Following the significant yen appreciation that occurred in a short timeframe on the evening of the 2nd, trading has been conducted with awareness of the possibility of another intervention. The yen continues to maintain its strength, with future policy decisions and economic data releases expected to have major impacts on the exchange rate. Investors are exercising extreme caution regarding upcoming market movements. Tibetan man dies in self-immolation protest at UN headquarters, apparently over China's ethnic policies. A Tibetan man set himself on fire in a fatal act of self-immolation in front of the United Nations headquarters in New York. According to police, the man apparently intended the act as a protest against what he viewed as oppressive ethnic policies by China. Self-immolation has been used repeatedly by Tibetan independence advocates as a means of expressing political dissent. The decision to carry out the act in front of the international organization suggests a deliberate attempt to send a powerful message to the global community. China's governance policies in Tibet have drawn criticism from international human rights organizations, and this incident once again highlights the ongoing severity of ethnic tensions in China. I'm a newlywed, Taylor Swift announces marriage to NFL player. Global pop superstar Taylor Swift has announced her marriage to Travis Kelce, a star player in the NFL, the National Football League. The couple held a large-scale wedding ceremony with prominent guests in Midtown Manhattan on the 3rd. Swift reported on social media that she is now a newlywed, and Kelce has also expressed his joy. The two have been reported to be dating since last year, and their relationship has attracted worldwide attention, including sightings of Swift attending Kelce's games. The marriage of this power couple representing the worlds of music and sports has been celebrated by fans around the globe. President Trump delivers partisan speech ahead of Independence Day as America marks 250 years since founding. President Trump of the United States delivered a speech in South Dakota in the Midwest ahead of Independence Day on the 4th. As America marks 250 years since its founding, the president took a highly partisan stance. With certain opposition Democratic Party politicians in mind, he stated he would swiftly defeat communism, drawing a clear line of opposition. The speech has drawn attention as a significant statement during an important period for America to reflect on its 250-year history since the nation's founding. Opposition voices are expected to mount, and further escalation of political conflict is anticipated. Polish Prime Minister issues warning over Russian threat, says, coming months could be extremely critical. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said on the 3rd that Poland is preparing for various scenarios with Russia's threat in mind, and that the coming months could prove to be an extremely critical period. Regarding Poland, it has been reported, citing U.S. intelligence sources, that Russia is planning provocative acts involving military force against Poland in order to test NATO's resolve. On the 3rd, Tusk referenced these reports. I don't intend to frighten anyone, but the coming months could indeed prove to be an extremely critical period. This is partly because the nature of warfare is changing. These concerns are particularly pronounced in the Baltic states, he told reporters. Polish news site Onet reported, citing sources close to President Karol Nawrocki, that the U.S. government had warned the Polish government multiple times regarding Russia's plans to attack Poland. The White House and U.S. State Department declined to comment when contacted by the BBC. The British newspaper Telegraph also reported on the 3rd on the content of Russia's alleged attack plans. According to the plan, Polish infrastructure could become a target of missile and drone attacks, and there is a possibility that Russian soldiers could infiltrate Poland, a NATO member state. Mourning begins for late Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. By reporter Tabby Wilson and Masoud Azari, BBC Persian Service. Mourning has begun in the Iranian capital Tehran for the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in airstrikes by the United States and Israel. More than 4 months after his death, national mourning and funeral rites will be held starting tomorrow. Various ceremonies are planned to continue for 40 days across the country and in neighboring Iraq. Attention is focused on whether Khamenei's son, Ayatollah Mojtaba, who succeeded him as supreme leader, will attend the funeral. The coffins of Ayatollah Khamenei and his relatives, who were killed in the attack at the end of February, are being held at the Grand Mosalla, a religious facility in Tehran. He is scheduled to be buried in his hometown of Mashhad on the 9th. Iranian authorities are describing this as a funeral of the century, and predict that 12 to 20 million people will attend the ceremonies. Iran and the United States signed an interim ceasefire agreement in June. Though the two sides subsequently continued attacks and accused each other of ceasefire violations, they reportedly reached a new agreement to halt attacks at the end of June. Footage from the scene shows crowds at the Grand Mosalla carrying Ayatollah Khamenei's coffin, adorned with Iranian flags.